Hi, my name is Cece, and on behalf of Scrapbook Central, welcome to another One Take Friday. This week I'm putting together a card with Darcie's images in tin pin, and I'm also going to talk to you about her watercoloring method with watercolor pencils. Darcie's clear polymer stamp set number POL213, Dynamics Designer Label Stacks 1, black archival ink, or you could also use black StazOn, and VersaFine ink would do as well, as long as the ink is waterproof. I'm going to use various colors of watercolor pencils, and here I have the Faber-Castells, a water goblet, a filbert brush, and a liner brush. You'll need watercolor paper. I have the Bean Fang here, which is 140 pound weight. The main characteristics of this watercolor paper is that it is very smooth, so when you stamp on it you get a nice clear impression. A sheet of waxy palette paper, a paper towel, and a heat gun, foam adhesives, as well as glossy accents and your favorite double-sided adhesive, a piece of bubblegum pink cardstock that measures 4 1/4 by 11 that will fold in half at the 5.5 inch mark, piece of Darcie's pattern paper that measures 4 by 5 1/4, and a tin pin for the bear's face. Before stamping our image, I'm going to take the second largest die from the die set, and I will cut a piece out of the watercolor paper, which I have cut down to the width that is enough to accommodate this die. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I will also emboss. I've chosen my watercolor pencil colors, and I have my palette paper right here, and you'll notice there's a waxy side, and on the other side is the more porous side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a palette of colors on the porous side by taking each of my pencil and scribbling. And this is where I'm actually going to pick up the color to color my image. And because the underside is waxy, the water will not seep through, and then you'll be able to use up all the color. It's not going to run to the other side. So I'm going to scribble all of my colors. So on my piece of watercolor paper that I previously die cut, I'm going to start by stamping the bear. A little bit off to the side. Next I'll do the sentiment, which says "Simply Sweet." And he's going to hold a heart-shaped balloon. The balloon is going to be off the paper a little bit, so I'm going to use my palette paper, and I'm going to be stamping this twice. So first, just near his hand, like this, and I'm going to stamp just the heart part on a scrap piece of watercolor paper, and this will be cut. I have a filbert brush here, and a filbert brush is flat, but it's got a rounded tip, and that's going to be very useful when we start shading. So I have a bucket of water right here, so I'm just going to remove the excess, and I'm going to take some brown from my palette, and I'm gonna give the bear a base coat, and I'm going to try and do this as uniformly as possible. The face at this point is not so important because we're going to add a tin pin to it. I'm going to use my liner brush to do the ears, to give the ears the base coat. And I noticed from the tin pen that the brown on the pin has a little yellowish tint to it. I don't have that particular color of watercolor pencils, so I'm going to mix in the yellow with the brown, which is why I put them side by side. So in essence, I'm going to add another brown hue to my bear. And again, I'm just doing some base coat. I'm not concerned about shading at this point. The fun thing about watercoloring is that if you do make a mistake, oops, I was out of frame, I'm sorry. If you do make a mistake, you can actually repel the color by using a clean brush, dipping it in water, and then going over the area, and then just dabbing it with your fingers, so it's very forgiving. I'm going to also give a little bit more yellowish to around the face here, and although we will add a tin pin, we're seeing a bit of that fur. The tin pin does not cover the whole face, so that is why I'm adding some color here. I'm sorry, I'm totally out of frame here. I'm going to add a little bit darker here. Okay. So here we have the base coat for the bear. I'm going to do the base coat for the balloon on both images, this one and the partial one here. So I'm going to pick up a bit of that pink. And I know that this balloon will get covered up, but just in case I'm not adhering it properly or exactly over the top, and sometimes and because it's going to be undimensional, sometimes you see the image underneath, and it's better to see pink than the image white. And that little bit right here, whoops, see, my brush was too wet, so it started bleeding into the other side, so I'm just going to even that out. And I'm going to do this part here too. Alright, I'll also color the inside of the ears. I'm not concerned about his nose because we won't see it. Okay. So now I'm going to start the shading. The shading is done for the bear. I will be doing it in brown only. And I dip my brush in the water, and then on the paper towel I will remove the excess water on both sides, pick up a bit of the brown on the tip of my brush, and I'm going to lay the brush on the side. And then walk it out.